it's incredible after such a long time with a full stop for the whole event industry, for the whole live show industry, that we can be starting up again with something this size and this magnitude. For everybody involved, it's a huge moment. We are so delighted that we can do this. And at the same time, it feels like a kind of a big sign of hope, a big sign of change. And that's also the feeling that we get from all the delegations that have come to Rotterdam now, that they feel like, yes, this might be a turning point in this pandemic. And I think that's the common feeling for everybody. But of course, to have something as huge and as impactful as Eurovision always is, to have that as that new starting point, that's amazing.
Eurovision Song Contest always was one of my favorite formats we're involved with. The atmosphere in the arena typically is great. Well, the overall excitement comes from that mix. On one hand, it's a huge fun event, and that's really nice. On top of that, this event is the largest music TV show in the world. You also stretch the possibilities of technology and of everything, and you go to the limit.
After 25 days of pre-programming, focusing, rehearsal, and the first show together, we all had so much fun. It was really a huge moment when we had the first broadcast after that, and it was a real relief, and we were very happy and very proud of what we did. So it was a great moment for all of us.
It's kind of the first call to action of our industry, at least in Europe. We know that some countries are already a little bit more advanced, but for us here, it's really great to be on such a big event, such large scale, with even a live audience. So this is, of course, one very important factor right now. It was a very, very difficult time. And this is due to not only the reason that our industry went down from one day to the next, but also in addition, the special situation that Bergamo was very early hit by the pandemic situation. And I have to say that many colleagues unfortunately lost relatives. And for all of us, it was at the beginning, health-wise, a really tragedy, a really difficult situation, and then came the business situation on top. But on the other hand, to also look at the good side of things, I think we could use the time, even though it was economically very difficult, to really focus on some things that maybe we would have not focused before. And we never stopped a single minute on innovating and working in our research and development and innovation team to create new products. This is basically the only thing that not stopped a single second. Of course, all the rest we had to ramp down: production, supply chain, many functions were partially put in short-term working, and are only now coming back step by step, but the innovation and the R&D was never stopping. We can proudly say that we are delivering and are showing this year our signature light, the Stylos, and this is really also unique for us to see such a great amount of fixtures in the biggest TV show in the world.
What was the greatest challenge? I would say where we are all in the pandemic and the situation what we are, and even preparing an event like this without nearly no site visits, just having drawings, plans. Yeah, to plan it like that.
It has cost us a lot of time and planning and a lot of talks with all of our partners, but of course also with the national government and all the agencies responsible to make it a safe environment for everybody to be working in. So we have a huge protocol in place that has been checked by all the authorities and developed together with all of the partners, so also together with all of the technical suppliers, to make sure that first and foremost we can create a safe working environment for everybody here. To make sure that since we are with such a huge amount of people, we can still be safe. So we have adapted all the walking routes, we have created more backstage space for the delegation bubble, for the technical facilities, for loading in and loading out. The crew catering is 3 times bigger than it would have been last year. All those small things added up. We wear medical mouth masks if we are not seated behind our desk. And we get tested every 48 hours, which is a huge production in itself. And that is actually linked to everybody's accreditation badge. so that you know when you have to get tested again, and we can make sure that everybody that is inside has been tested negative. And that feels good. It feels good that everybody feels safe. I think the overall lighting this year was done very cleverly by Henk-Jan. We have, I think for Eurovision stage, we have a relative small amount of different fixtures. So Henk-Jan decided to go big and bold with specific fixtures, not to use 20 or 30 different fixtures. And of course, the stylos is going to give that unique look for this year's stage. And it really fits amazingly with the stage design from Florian. And because of the huge number, we can really show that in all the different acts, in all different ways. Part of it is in motion, we have different layers, and it's a very impressive effect spot. It really delivers. The punch is huge and the speed is amazing.
We are very happy to be represented with our signature light, the Stylos, the first and so far unique laser-powered beam. Great in colors, and that has been chosen by the lighting designer as a signature light for this event. And yeah, we are very proud that we have 481 of those in the show.
The corals are really beautiful, and it's exactly the type of fixture we wanted to use for the song festival because of the lines we would like to have. We have several of the fixtures there also in motion, so we can create more looks and different looks. And we have a special row of fixtures what's hanging before the video wall. In one of the songs we have a lift off from the bottom to the top. So it looks like they're floating into the video, and it's a challenge to not put them all on together, because then it gets, oh, that's a lot. But so now and then we have them all on, and it's really a nice effect. To mention one of the Iceland delegations, they shouted to us, "Give us the fucking rainbow," and they get it.
In previous years, I think the set design has been more specific. And this year it's much more of a blank canvas. It's much more of an open stage, and it looks beautiful in itself. But creating those acts in there really required a lot of working together with all these delegations, and we've happily done that, and they really took the challenge. So we explained to them all the possibilities we had in lighting, in motion, in the revolving doors, in LED screens, the transparent screen, and they really accepted the challenge. I think we have 39 unique performances, and I think the overall quality of the show really has made a big leap forward.
Everything I do on Eurovision in the past always had a kind of deeper background. So it's not a random design. It's something that actually can be explained. It's heavily connected to the history of the country. And I see it more from an artistic, when I get this process started, I see it more from an artistic point of view. And that's what makes this show special, because not every show has it. You know, if you design an award show or something, you can't open all these drawers. So in terms of just telling a story, getting this connection to the country, which is kind of exciting, and that's what I did for the last couple of years. So no matter if it was in, Portugal or Israel. So in the first step, I just tried to find this anchor. What could this be? And also from in terms of art, in terms of culture, in terms of everything. So just trying to be inspired, and I just suck in as much as I can. There are the pretty obvious things, which is, of course, it's a very flat country. It's heavily related to water, it has all these canals, etc., etc. So this is all the logical, very, very simple stuff. And then, but on the other hand, I'm always looking for a more abstract, probably more artistic inspiration. Yes, I took the water, I took the horizon, I took all this kind of being related to the sea. So it has these kind of waves left and right. So this is like an abstract but very understandable statement in the room. And then on the other hand, I tried to find this more artistic approach as well. And what I found pretty interesting is Dutch design in general, because Dutch design, I believe, really reflects how the people are, the variety of the country, being so open-minded, being, having this cultural connection, but being so modern on the other hand. And this is something that really inspired me, and I always wanted to do something that feels a little bit more modern, a little bit more slick, creating very clear images. It's really important for a show like this that you just can create all these different moments. Usually you have one stage, and what I tried to do different this year is I actually designed 2 full stages, and they're both independently usable for the artists. And the reason why I did this is actually because I wanted to create as much variety as possible. We have a huge screen that can fly in, we have a lot of lighting devices that can fly in, and you can shoot, so you have this front of house center shot on the main stage, but you can also shoot the entire show actually, or a performance, from the other side, in a 90-degree angle, and then there's this screen that flies in. So you have actually it's not a similar setup, but it is another full setup, and that's the point.
On top of that, with the other fixtures that Henk-Jan is using, that really complements the whole picture. So we have unique look of the Ayrton Hurricanes in there, big performance spotlights with all different kinds of possibilities. We have the FR10 bars in the floor to create that unique light curtain 2.0 look, and even more different fixtures, but not too much.
We have 40 clients, we call them, and also we have our interval acts and our opening acts, and that all together we have to mix in a creative way. The lines Florian made in his set design, we like to achieve also with our lighting design. And we wanted to achieve a big wash light. The wash lights not on a row, but in a pack of a circle and in a pot. We want to have the motion to create some more effects with the lighting gear, and to achieve that the space is filled with a lot of lights, but when we have a small act, we want to make it small. So there are acts where we use nearly all the fixtures, and there are some acts where we only use 5 fixtures. That was the big challenge and the big creative challenge also. We created the flower pot in several rings, and we can choose just to use one or just a part of it, and you also see it when we use for example, 5 fixtures. There are in a kind of fixture we can use 3 in a row or 3 in a vertical way. It worked perfectly for us. The one we have in motion and they were inside on the set, they were really packed with the set design also. They made it round with some wood, and we have an LED line on it. So it's perfectly, you don't see any rigging or that kind of stuff. The Hurricane X is the new fixture of Ayrton. And that's one of the big working horses on stage for the show looks. We also have them in motion in the drop arms, 40 pieces, and it gives the versatile look we were looking for. And it's a really working horse, and we have them also at the end of the venue to have the architectural look into the venue. And altogether it's a perfect working horse in this kind of venues and this kind of shows. On each door there are 70 mini panels. We use them on the back of the revolving doors, and they're also very nice integrated into the set. And you don't, the same what I told you about the flower pots, they were really nice worked away in the set. On the back we made a mirror, so if he's turning around you still have an effect of the mirror also. It's also pixel driven, and we use it 1 or 2 times in the show, and it really worked very nice. And especially with the Switzerland act, at the last 10-20 seconds of the act, the revolving doors are turning, and it's a big, huge effect with all the mini panels. The workhorses for the follow spots and the TV lighting and the front light and the back lights are the BMFL wash beams from Roby, and they were perfect for this job. We already use them a lot in our other TV shows, and it gives the look we need and the white we need for the television. Because with so many fixtures mixed together and the video, it's a very hard way to get all the pictures on the right color temperature and the right whites. That's a big plus, I think, that we have Ampco Flashlight on board. They gave every opportunity to create this set together. It fit perfectly. We have a fantastic crew, lighting-wise, and it's incredible what they achieve in this kind of time. We can and we could create this song festival on the right time, and I think everyone needs it on this time to have some fun, and that's I think really on the screen now. We have a mix of operators. We have one operator for key light and follow spots, 2 groups of 2 operators to do show light, set light, prop light, and all together we have it in one session. The operators, they have several backgrounds. The specialties of all the operators together, I think that gives the unique looks now of the song festival. With all the operators, we had a discussion about it and what we're going to use and what's preferable. We did some tests, and finally we choose for the Grandmaid 3. It's the machine what we need. We have 5 operators, and they have all 2 desks, and we have some desks, spare desks. Our gaffer has a desk. We have some desks for focusing. So in total we have 16 Grandmaid 3 lights.
So basically, and I'm very happy with this, we've been able to keep the main audio design intact from last year. So we are ready to receive audience. So I'm very happy that we are receiving audience now. So we haven't cut back on that, because we really think that if you want to create that vibe, if you want to create that atmosphere, the audio has to be great. It has to be punchy. It has to be in your face. But also, since it is a television show, it's always balancing out, because most audio designers will want to have left and right, big stacks, punching forwards as low as possible. And working with the audio design team that we have with Jeroen was great, because he's used to these large television shows. So he came up with the concept of not using the left and right and full punch, but splitting it up and basically hanging much more audio rigs directly to the sides and to the tiers. So it's in their face, it's punchy, but still we can keep the clearance that we need to keep the lines of sight open and keep the camera shots all nice and clear. The main stacks are all K1. I can tell you it sounds great. Even on the floor in the green room, it really has that oomph, that punch. And in the end, it is a song contest. So audio is extremely important for the audience, but also to make sure that we can deliver the best audio for the viewers at home. So working together with television audio has really been important as well.
The key to stay organized is to have the best crew and the best hardware. And all the bars are closed, so that problem is gone. We're using the SD7s because it's a double, it's with a double power supply, double computers. So we're safer with failures, and that's one of the key things here. So we actually have 4 desks. I choose for it because it's more reliable without the extra outboard stuff. And when we save the file and we put it in the backup desk, we certainly know it's all the same, and saves a lot of hassle. So, and it's way good enough what's inside. There's no need to use anything else. And then we have an additional trick with reverbs from the broadcast. So we get the outputs from the broadcast reverbs used back to our desk. In general, there's a MADI for playback or 1 MADI for radio mics, full. That's basically the main inputs. Every delegation or every country has 6 in-ear outputs. So that's only 6 stereos. And then we give them a color. So if the color corresponds, then we should be right. And all the delegations members, they have a card around their neck with a collar. So for the handheld mics, every member of a delegation has his own gauze or top of the mic. So we change them all the time. So 120 of them. using the DPA de facto on a Shure Action digital microphone. We're still between the SM58 or the de facto are the two best capsules you can use, I think, on stage. And this one is just a bit more hi-fi and everybody's really happy with it. Well, the Shure has a double transmitter, and when there's a failure, it just goes to the next frequency without knowing that it changes. So, which is really great and feels very safe. So far the best in our world, and easily available in bigger numbers.
Now we have a different year. We are in a pandemic. It is certainly not an easy situation. All the technologies are needed there for the crew to work, for the commentators to connect. On site at the event location, there's always a huge pressure on the whole production team. And that's not only the case for our own team, but for the overall team. So we try to avoid issues and extra workload on the team on site. And that's why we try to go into an event with the best possible preparation. And to have that, we put systems together here in our prep area, and there we put everything together. The software is put in, the configuration is put in, and we test everything. And even the cabling is put in, so we have the whole setup and it works. Sometimes the client comes in and does kind of an acceptance or pre-training or something. Sometimes we just do it for ourselves. What we do is then basically unplug all the cables, close the flight cases, ship the whole thing to the event, set it up, and typically it just all works straight away. We test not only the basic functions, but we go into redundancy setups. So sometimes we just unplug cables and randomly, and we see, well, whether these the systems, the redundancy concept, whether it's about power or signal redundancy, whether that works or not. And we do this. And we go even that far that for the Eurovision right now, all the countries already test their connections for the commentary positions. So they dial into the system here in Wuppertal, and they will find exactly the same dial-in setup than in Rotterdam later on. And it was all pre-tested already.
Our clients and we have a very high degree of perfection we need to deploy on the events. So a lot of these setups are pre-configured here, but not just pre-configured, also tested, that we have a reliable setup when we arrive at the sites, and then only have a very short time on site to really deploy the technology. Because also staying on sites on the large venues, and you see all this technology, if you start from scratch there, would mean very long time for the stuff on site, more hotels, more F&B, all these unnecessary costs for the client. So that's also a very important part why we prep here. Plan A is always plug and play, and more or less, I mean, the system is really ready and live tested when we arrive, but you all know live events are changing with the second. So I think I would say more or less we do plug and play, and then we adapt to the changes which have been made to the setup once we left here Wuppertal. So this is of course also part of the place to be flexible on site and adapt to the circumstances. We have a large signal backbone out of Micron, Medionet, and also a very large AES67 backbone this year, which is actually a new one. So this year we're completely running on AES67. We have a large artist setup for intercom inside. It's an Artist 1024 actually, and a couple of 128 frames and 64 frames. So a high number of panels. It's around 200 panels on the whole event, commentary and smart panels, and all mixed. It's a large Bolero network with over 60 belt packs. And then besides that, for the more remote parts, we even have a Tetra radio network and an analog radio network. So it's really through everything we do from A to Z. And some of the special managed technology services as well. So speaking about example for the turnstiles, the entry gate situation, which is also full service from us. So we have a special accreditation system backbone with the server system, and taking care about the RFID cards for access control.
Just start with the most important thing, I would say, is definitely, as always, communication. So whoever needs to communicate here on site amongst these multiple hundreds of workforce and people involved in the show, whoever you see who's not communicating via mobile phone is communicating via one of our devices. So as always, we're communicating on wireless and wired system. We do have the intercom system. We have an analog and a digital radio system installed with a total of more than 600 users. And again, one of the challenges here is that everything needs to be sanitized with a lot of different procedures. One important piece of what we do is the accreditation. So we have a total of 12,500 of these batches produced. Not all of them in use, but many. We are responsible for the whole access control, entrance control solution. So the entire system, which is in front of the huge software piece, is our backbone and is built on our software and hardware. We have a total of 30 kilometers almost fiber and cut cabling installed all across the venue, building the main signal distribution backbone for the entire show.
For the whole signal distribution, for example, for video distribution, we are using about 40 micron frames and about 25 to 30 Medionet modular frames to get all the different kinds of signals distributed. If you see a TV, a screen, whatever, loudspeaker, nearly all of the signals is going through our Medionet backbone. We are connecting all the commentators to their home countries.
Which is one of the rare occasions where the scope actually decreased rather than increasing. So normally we have roughly 40 to up to 43 delegations and commentators on site. This year, unfortunately, it's only 20.
We have the Artist 1024, one frame in place, where we have connected all the radio, analog radio base stations. And also we connected the commentary system on the 1024. Then we are setting up one of the biggest temporary AS67 network and connect to there our newest RSP panels, which are working on AS67, and also our wireless intercom system, our Bolero, roughly about 70 Bolero belt packs are in use. It's also connected to the AS67 network. We have also for the commentator solution our Muon in place, and also for video distributing the fusions.
It's taken a long time and a lot of talks with the government. And in the Netherlands, there is a platform created by the event industry together with the national government. It's called Field Lab, in which we try to work towards how can we reopen the industry. And our Eurovision Song Contest this year has been earmarked as a Field Lab event. So we are allowed to receive 3,500 audience for 9 shows. So that was a huge achievement, and that we can do it safely. And of course, for all the artists and everybody working here, it's great to have a live audience.
This one is different, obviously, from the advice that we give for other events, because what we do here is because we want to test. We want to make sure that it's 100% safe, or as close to 100% as you can get. So over here, the measures are very strict. So you have like testing, you have the health check, then you have people who are over 70 or with underlying diseases are not allowed to come to the stadium. We have a retest after the event, and we ask you to not visit other people or vulnerable people for 10 days when you've been to the show. So those are a lot of measures actually that you don't want to take for normal events when we're going back to normal. But we are looking at measures like, can you use rapid testing at an events industry? Is it possible? Is it feasible? Do people want to use it? So we are looking into those things as well to see how we can organize events in the near future. Well, I absolutely believe that we will have safe events in a very short period of time again. And I think we can go back to 100% as well. The research has shown, the data have shown, that the risk that you actually have going to an event is not higher than the risk that you have at home to get infected. So if you look at the infection rate per person per hour at home, it's the same as going to an event. So if you take the right measures. So I definitely believe that we will get away from COVID-19 very soon. Another important factor is, should we have COVID-22 or 24, that we don't have to go back to zero as an events industry again, but that you can always fall back on our scenarios and say, well, okay, you can go back to 50% once you have the testing done. Or so we think that that's an important factor as well. So it's not just for now, but it's for the future as well.